the other hour, 1 o'clock. So,
no nie przyłączy się do tego się chciałem kawę, ale nie potrzebujesz, dobra.
I później Lechot ma koncept i o 20.
Także są udostępnić.
Dobrze. Teraz ci tutaj ustawię.
To jest takie brzydkie?
Tak,
Wiesz co, teraz zobaczymy rozdzielczość. Próbowałem bez cukru, ale ten automat mnie oszukał 2 razy.
Może być
Aha.
So, I planned to talk about liturgy of the object piece, but because yesterday it was a lot of question about music of strings, so maybe I will start about talking about music of strings project. I will tell you a little bit about why I do it and what I use. I will show you ways of notation of such weird music, and then I will talk a little bit about the liturgy of the object. Okay. So, first of all, I have to say that the idea of using untypical string instruments like zithers, dulcimers, and so on, it came to me when I was participating in a project of Institute Adama Mickiewicza. It was a project with with Music Fabrik, and Music Fabrik is an ensemble which revealed the complete instruments of Harry Partch. Perhaps some of you know Harry Partch. This is a totally freak composer and like a genius also. And he had a very strong idea of music. Actually, this idea was about the tuning, mostly about the tuning. So he wrote a book, Genesis of Music. In that book, he writes about intervals and why chromatic scale, 12-tone scale, is actually a bullshit. It's something which is really bad and it's out of tune. And it's not. Actually, he's right. He's right because what physics says about that is that, for example, minor third should be like 15 cents lower than in chromatic scale. Yes, minor seventh should be even more, like 35 cents lower than in chromatic scale. That means that if you hear, for example, wind ensemble, which is very good to hear the tuning, they are very often out of tune, not because they can't play, sometimes because they of course they can play with good intonation, but very often it's simply impossible because some of them are trying to tune in chromatic tuning, well-tempered tuning, but we would like to hear, our ears would like to hear natural tuning. Natural tuning, that means that the intervals are coming from aliquots, from the ratio of frequency that can be mathematically put from aliquots. Yes, that's why major third is 5/4, and 5/4 is not the same as E note in comparison to C note, because E, you know, in a well-tempered tuning we have a mathematical equation which is very, very complicated, and it's dividing the octava into 12 equal semitones, and actually it doesn't work like that. I mean, for our ears, for our brains, there is a parameter which is called szorstkość. I don't know the English word, szorstkość, and the less beatings we hear, the less szorstki interval is. That means that it's more pleasant for our ears. So if the choir, for example, finish beautiful song at C major chord, the tenors always sing a little bit lower E note, yes, because they know that they should be in this natural tuning. But if they have organ, they will not be in tune with organ or with piano, so it's actually complicated. So Harry Partch built his own instruments, like 30 or 40 of them, and some of them are string instruments. Mostly there are zithers. He gave them a lot of nice names, but actually like harmonic canon, surrogate guitar or kitara, but mostly there are just zithers, or Castor and Pollux and Blue Rainbow. These are his names, and he composed his music only for these instruments. He also had percussion instruments, a lot of percussion instruments made of bamboo, which he tuned, and he tuned these instruments in his own tuning. And for because if you use a tuning which is not chromatic, but it's somehow natural, or it develops, the tuning develops into the natural tuning, there should be some tonic center, because you cannot do modulation. You can't play. Cannot play at the same instruments in A major and D major and E major. You have to choose one tonation, and then so he chose G, and each of his pieces is according to G. So G is 1-1, and then each interval is not written down as a note, but is written down as a ratio. I will show you that. So I wrote a piece, string theory for these instruments. I used only string instruments. Oh, sorry. And let's start maybe with. For example, this instrument is harmonic canon. So the piece I wrote for Harry Patch instruments, I played yesterday somehow. It was played. It was performed by Music Fabric with 10 performers and conductor, and it's written. But I made a solo version that I played just at the beginning of the concert. So this is, for example, a harmonic canon, I think. And the first question is about notation. So as you can see, it has a lot of strings, and in these instruments, all of these 8 strings are tuned the same. This is also the same. Here we have the second note, third note, and fourth note. So we have actually only 8 notes at this instrument. He constructed special mallets, bamboo mallets, which could hit a lot of strings together, yeah? to get more intense sound. Actually, I don't know why he didn't use the patent of dulcimer, that we have 4 strings just very close together. So now the question is how to notate such kind of music, because musicians actually doesn't know whether this is E or maybe F sharp. They doesn't know. They know that this is third part of strings, third choir of strings. And I use also this fragment of strings, which is actually unusable because it's only very short string endings, and also here. It's also very short parts of strings, but it sounds very good. Let me. I think I need to have internet to show you fragment of the piece. But maybe first the notation. So, for example, here we have the notation of chromelodic canon. So here you have more or less the notes, and here you have ratios. So always G is 1-1. Here you have G and you have 1-1. That means it's perfect unison. And for example, G, then we have, let's find a major fourth. It should be C. Here we have C is 4-3. So it's what you expect. But for example, minor second, you have 2 types of minor second. It's note A, so it's 10-9, 9-8, and actually also 8-7. So this is note A, but one is A a little bit lower than A. I call it ash, and this is A, and this is sorry, this is ash, and this is ash. A little bit more than A. So it's like microtonal notation, and it's even more than this. So this is 1/8 of note, but actually it's not equal. So so these signs are not really equal. It's just to make it all this easier. So then the musicians doesn't see the notes; they see this, and it's okay for them because the notation looks more or less like tabulature for guitarists. let me show you a fragment of score. Maybe, for example, here we have a special guitar which is also tuned in a special way, and that means that the player should put a slide on for free. It's actually written. It doesn't have frets. It's more like lap steel guitar, which I used also yesterday, because Harry Potter liked very much the glissandos. He wanted to make his music like singing, and he has a lot of glissandos, so I also use the glissandos. So you have to put the slide at for free, and then you have to move it to the position, but change the curve a little bit. So the lower part of the slide is at 40-11 and the higher part is at 7-5. It looks very complicated, and it is actually, but then for musicians who play Harry Potter music, it's very easy because they just have the same. They have the same in their scores from Harry Potter. So I will just make the internet on. Okay, and let's listen only to short fragment maybe. I can show you also the instrument koto. Yesterday I used guzeng. Perhaps you saw guzeng. You can see that there is a lot of instructions. Oh, this is koto. Now I play at guzeng because guzeng is Chinese. It's much cheaper. You can buy guzeng for 1,500 zlotys, and to buy koto you need 5,000. So you know, and koto has 11 strings and guzeng has 21 or something like this. Koto maybe 13. 21 is too much for playing bow. That's why I used only some of them, because it was too much for me. It's difficult to bow when you have strings too close one to each other. So the idea was, in koto and in guzeng, you have this bridges. They are movable. So actually, each time you start a piece, you prepare to exercise or to play, you have to put the bridges. Yes. Maria Pomianowska says that you can leave it, but they said when I bought it that you should leave it, because strings will be distracted if you don't unmount the bridges. But that means that you can put the bridges wherever you want. So normally the bridges are in totally different position, and you can see that here the koto has some signs, and these are signs for different bridges in different pieces, because Peter, who played the koto, he was really good, although he is oboe player. So sometimes in between the concert he has to move the bridges. So of course you can tune also the strings by tuning clef, but normally it's easier just to put a bridge in the right position. And what's more, if you have the bridges in such configuration, you can play not only at right part of the string. Normally they play at right part of the string, so they plug the string, and here they make this the glissando. But who says that you cannot plug this part of string? It also has sound, and it has very good sound. This is untypical because for guitars and other instruments like this, you can use only one part of the string. Yes, if you press the guitar at 5th fret, for example, you can use this part of guitar, not that one. Although I have a piece when I use contact microphone which is attached to the guitar head, and I play both here and here. It's quite complicated, but I have like both playing. And that part of guitar is not tuned in tempered tuning, because it's, that part is tempered, and that is not. So it's very interesting. So I had to decide which positions of the bow. So you can see the. Yesterday maybe you saw that I was bowing in different positions also, sometimes here, sometimes here. So here you have a total list of a bridge position, and it's really tuned to some notes, so it's not it's musical. I mean, it gives some chord, although it's a little bit tuned, and it's around perhaps around C or something, I don't remember now. And again, we have a special kind of notation in the score, which notate how to bow. So then you go to the koto solo with surrogate guitar. It's somewhere there. And for example, this is the score for koto player. So he needs to do the ricochets in position number 7 with right hand, and with left hand with another bow in position number 5. It's really easy using 2 bows. Actually, it's not very complicated. I don't know why people don't do that. I did it first, I think, when I played a piece of Marcin Stańczyk in Opera Narodowa. So I had electric guitar and bass guitar, and he asked me to play with 2 bows and 2 guitars. It was easy, but the guys of the electric guys plug the amplifiers to 2 different phases. So when I touched 2 guitars, it was like current coming through me. It was really hard. So you have to be careful. Yeah, so maybe let's try to listen to a little bit of this music. I have to use YouTube because this is the piece I don't have with me. Sorry for that. Okay. Oh, perfect. That shows me that I need to switch the reference systemowe, which is
powinien się pojawić. Interface. Może już jest czymś włączony ten kabelek.
Właśnie.
Bo takie mam wrażenie, że ten kabelek do interfejsu nie jest
To jest twój kanał na YouTubie?
Tak. To jest mój.
Kabel jest w ogóle wypięty, zdaje się.
To będzie
Taki drobiazg.
Ma prawo to nie działać.
So these instruments of Harry Partch was for me the inspiration to make my own experience with this. But of course I couldn't build them because it's very hard. But you can buy a zither like for 200 zloty. It's really, it should be banned, I think, but people just sell at OLX or Allegro old zithers which sound really good. They tune really perfect. It's like instrument which is 100 years old, and it's simply
się pojawił u
tak
jest. To jest to.
Okay, and it simply works perfect. So.
Tylko musisz...
Chyba muszę przyłożyć.
Forma musisz mieć.
Zobaczyć, ale troszeczkę od tej choroby jestem spowolniony, albo wejście, ale wyjście.
Personalizowany program treningu na krześle.
To też bardzo ciekawe. Proponuję obejrzeć to z obrazem, bo to dobrze wygląda i fajnie jest to zobaczyć, a ewentualnie możemy zobaczyć kawałek partyturki też. Ale... Więc mamy tu duży zespół, tych instrumentów jest więcej, bo w moim utworze nie wszystkie były wykonywane.
Po angielsku.
We have a lot of instruments, but not all I use. So this is what I played at the beginning of yesterday's concert. This is Super Bowl, like a toy for kids. can hear two A notes. It's I think 10-9 and 9-8. Bam, bam. They're micro tuning, a little bit offset. So, more or less, this is it. If you want, you can watch on YouTube more. But what I want to say, so this is this harmonic canons. It's like Castor and Pollux and Blue Rainbow. He gave the instruments very nice names. It was part of his philosophy. Here you can see the, for example, glass bowl chambers. I think these are instruments made from very big glass bowls. This is kitara, and this is surrogate kitara and koto. You can see the koto here. So if you experiment with the sounds, you can find a way to notate it. And for me, it was really fantastic to be able to do it myself with zithers and dulcimers. I found them actually the same sound quality. Because the zithers that I used yesterday, these instruments has really very rich sound, and I can say that always when I play anything at them, people are very happy to listen the sound because it's just very beautiful. This is how it works. And on the other hand, zithers were and dulcimer were very popular in Europe, in the Middle Europe. And now, actually, they are almost forgotten. The dulcimer players you can find, and you can find some folk bands using dulcimers. In Warsaw, you can learn at musical academy how to play dulcimer, but not zithers. Zithers are somehow totally forgotten. And what's more, the zithers are also. This is like a small piano. And actually, this is totally right because piano evolved from zither. Even the shape is the same because we have short strings for higher pitches and long strings for lower pitches. At first we had zithers in starożytności. Then we had somebody
in ancient times.
In ancient times. Then somebody added the mallet to hit the strings. And that's how dulcimer started, and then the mechanism of this mallet, they made the mechanism like for clavichord, clavecin, and piano. So normally, if you want to play inside the piano to use preparation, you have to write some special podanie for
application.
Application of director, rector. You have to wait. I don't know, 1 week until they give you possibility to do it, because a lot of people the pianists, they actually think that it damages piano. If you do it in the right way, for example, you have clean heads and you don't put any stuff inside that can live there, it's really very safe. But still, they don't want to do it. But in zither, 200 zloty or 300, or 300 zloty, and you have the same. but the problem is that I have to use contact microphone because the sound is quite low. I mean, it's not powerful. But if I use contact mic, I can have really low frequencies. And yesterday, one of these instruments, the chord zither, it has very short but very big strings, fat strings. And it's like, I think, 30 hertz or something. It's a very powerful sound. You cannot hear this low frequency by your ear, but the contact microphone attached to the instrument will hear it. I would like to show you the patch that I used yesterday. So this is the view that I have to play, because I used some electronics but on the other hand, not too much, because the instruments, the sound source itself is so good that you just have to do a little. And in one fragment, it didn't work. I don't know why. I was sitting in the front of the table, so I couldn't go back and click it, but I managed without it. So as you can see, I have inputs for all instruments here, and I have outputs for effects. These electronic transformations are mainly granulation, ring buffering, spectral drawing, and more or less that's all. So I use and time stretching. Yeah. So for example, this is a time stretcher which works in very easy way. It just records a single note to, or whatever you play, 2 seconds of sound to a buffer, and then it plays it, but with very low stretch ratio, like 10 times slower, but without changing pitch. So it works really good because it's I think it's a standard groove object by Max. It's not an IRCAM object. Perhaps so it's a standard groove object in time stretch mode. It's very efficient, but only on harmonic sound. So if you would like, if you want to have nice sound without many artifacts, it's better to record harmonic sound, because it works very good for harmonic sounds. Much worse for transients. But this is obvious because you cannot time stretch transients. If you have this sound, how can you time stretch it? You will get, and this is exactly what it gives. But if I sing, I cannot sing to that. So if I sing something, the sound effect is quite clear. So what I do, I just use my pedal to record. I have 3 buffers, and each buffer is played by 2 groove objects in different, and each buffer is played in with different parameters, a little bit different. With glissandos, there is a LFO for pitch shifting also. So once I record 3 sounds to buffer, I get a sound texture which actually evolves all the time. It's all the time more or less the same, but it will never be the same again. So this is what I really love with such electronic transformations. Then I have granulation. This is a IRCAM Forum Max app. Perhaps you know it. It's for free. So if any of you use Max, you can log in at IRCAM Forum and just download it. This is a kind of granulation that you record fragment of sound. I have here like 3 seconds buffer, and then it's played back by granulating playhead. So maybe I will not speak about the granulation itself, but what's for me very important is that actually I don't change the parameters during the concert. Only once I did it for this object. You can see the Cetelin objects. So in fact I played a little bit with parameters, but only with this granulation, and only for 1 minute maybe. That means that I have to prepare everything so that it just works, and then I use sound source to change the music. Happily, if I record, for example, percussive sounds, the effect is totally different than if I record like clusters on zither or very high notes. I did all of this yesterday, and you probably thought that maybe I use some different transformations or something very complicated is happening, but it was very easy. I just record more and more to the same buffer, replacing what was there before. It was playing back with such parameters, and that's enough actually. So I think that for me it's important because I'm a performer. I play also electric guitar. I play in #ensemble, also music of other composers, and I like to play music. That means that to feel the music that I play. If I add more strength, this is forte. If I have low strength, this is piano. And if I have some knobs like you have here, for example, you know, the knobs or sliders are very short. Yeah, the slider in MIDI controllers is like 5 centimeters.
6 usually, which is
or 6 centimeters. So at cello you have griff which is that long, and you have bow which is that long, and you have a lot of expression just in the power of your hand that is moving the bow. You change the position of the bow by 1 millimeter and you get different timbre. I used it at the Guzeng yesterday. I changed the position of the bow and something really strange happened. Different aliquots were playing. And to achieve the same thing with electronics, if you, of course you can do that, but for me the problem is when you use sliders and knobs. So for me there are two ideas how to solve that. First idea is to build a kind of controller that will have possibility of expression, and I use gesture phone. This is a kind of controller with lip motion, and by using my hands over the lip motion of this is like infrared sensor, I can manipulate with sound. Maybe I can show you here short fragment.
Nie no, przekonujące trzeba było.
Właśnie tutaj panowie,
So,
so yesterday I could use that when I moved my hands over the zither, but it would be too complicated, you know, to
Twoje zakładki zawsze pod ręką.
So there's the here you have the device. It's very little. And this is real. It's not fake. It reacts for the przyspieszenie, velocity. When my movement is faster than some velocity, it will trigger the note. But there are a lot of possibilities of triggering the sounds and manipulating them. First of all, you can move your hand like this, and like this. So you have 6 actually, 3 dimensions, but six directions. Then you can have the distance from left to right hand. You can also use this gesture, and if you would like, you could also use each finger gesture. But believe me, it's really too much. So this like 8 or 10 gestures are used. Maybe I will skip it. Just triggers the new cues, new scenes, but everything is done with hands. Maybe fragment from fantastic because
Wojtek, pamiętasz, że myśmy tę nutu, well, we played this piece
właśnie,
in 2012 on COVID. In the way 2020.
through internet.
You are in Warsaw, and we're running this live through the net.
Yes,
So
exactly.
people were seeing the patch, all gestures, and also in the smaller window himself also playing in Warsaw. So that's quite. I remember this.
Exactly. I remember I was in my
That's quite
big room,
kind of risky,
but it
it
worked.
was quite successful with this.
So this is really cool because when you finish playing the piece, like 10 minutes, you are totally wet and exhausted. And this is what the performer should, for me, should be. This is how he should feel after the concert. He should be somehow exhausted, and he should know that he, actually playing music is, it's like making sport a little bit. And from the other point of view, you have a lot of pleasure with controlling the parameters because it really works, and the place that you can move your hands is quite big. There are some problems, of course. For example, you cannot cross your hands because in that situation it totally it goes mad, the patch. So I have some ideas for that, and also for me it was very important to program it like this, that only when I move my hands I have sound. So when I want to have pausa, actually I want to have pausa because silence is really good in music, but silence is very often avoided in electronic music because it's easy to just play some drones. But when I put my hands away, there is pausa, and this is what I really like about that. I can show you the patch, and I can show the score of not of this piece but of another piece.
How the device is called? Once again?
Lip motion.
Lip motion.
I have to say that Wrocław, I mean Czarek Duchnowski and his friends, they used the lip motion in this year at Warsaw Autumn.
Okay.
They had the concert, and maybe in the beginning it was, they played with two people with two lip motions. And I wrote a piece for Czarek Duchnowski and Agata Zubel, and they performed it. I will show you the patch maybe.
But Wojtek, do you use still lip motion, because we have a problem with the newest?
So I have still old computer.
Okay.
But I know that Czarek had problems with M1, M2 processors, yeah. And it was like crashing and crashing.
A lot of promises, but
I don't
not
know.
really working. Yes.
So it's.
We have it in A3, but it's.
So this
Yes,
is
the new generation of computers really destroy a lot of fun toys.
Exactly. Gestophonia już. So in that piece I use mostly samples, not sound synthesis. I think there is no sound synthesis here, only samples, because it was a project of Warsaw Academy of Music to record some contemporary techniques played at some instruments like cello, contrabass, clarinet and piano. You can see the granulation again. I use it again. This is different granulator, I think. And actually, maybe it's not interesting to look into the patch, maybe for you. What's really important about the idea of it is that because all the time you have all these movements. If you move your hand upwards, you still move it a little bit to the front or to the back. So all the time you have to mute all the signals that you don't want to use. If you want to use only this signal up and down, it's better to mute all the other signals. And this is actually what I have in my presets. I mute some kind of movements, and for example in the middle part I have very strong sound, and I do this to stop it. So it's really tricky to make it work, and if I do this and it doesn't work, it's really big fuck up. So what I do, I using pedal, I disconnect all the other signals, and I have some backups. I mean that it reacts not only for this but also for this, and for both hands, not only for one, and it works really. And what is interesting about that is that you really have to practice that. It's not so easy. You have to spend some time on practicing.
It's more contemporary version of theremin.
Yeah, a little bit, but you have much more controllers. But there were virtuoso of theremin. I don't think that I'm a virtuoso of orchestrophone, of course. But I could be maybe. I will show you the score. Correlations is the title. I need to find. So there is a singer, Agata Zubel, which is singing, and Czarek Duknowski, who is moving his hands. And by and in this piece that I showed you, the gesturphony, I just used the gestures without any context, just musically. But of course, if you have gestures, you can have some context. For example, you can do this, and there is another person. And this is what I used in that piece. So there are positions of musicians which are in different positions. From time to time they change it. Almost each gesture has some meaning also. It was a little bit difficult to do it, but it was possible. So then the score looks like this. So we have this is a part of gesture from player. Left hand, you see. I think number 3 is there is some explanation what is number 3. I don't remember now. Sorry, maybe this is just position number 3. And here you can see that he does grab on, and then with this grab he make this movement, like this line, and grab off. So this is a gesture. Agata is singing and he's grabbing her voice and manipulating it and letting her go.
Did she improvise?
So it's a little bit improvised because Czarek don't have to, move it 1 centimeter like exactly as me. But it's important to grab the sound exactly in that point, because if he don't do it, there will be no sound. And then he have to know what kind of movement he has in this particular bar. So for example, here he has a front-rear movement of left hand, and it's even written what kind of sound parameters he is changing. So it's like tremolo frequency and position of granulated buffer. So it's quite complicated, but it's notable, and everything is notated quite precisely. And they performed it very, very precisely. Of course, from time to time something doesn't work. I mean, some sound is not, some gesture is not seen by the controller, so this is a problem, yes. But on the other hand, it's quite effective. And this is a gesture of have your hands out. So if you look at this score, maybe you think that it's very complicated. But on the other hand, if it would be bassoon, and if I would write all the notes for bassoon, it would be also the same amount of work. So here is left hand, right hand, and the result of electronics. Yeah, so that's it. Maybe I will ask about any questions. Do you have any questions about this?
You
about
said that you
music
have
of
two solutions of the problem. So one is using this instrument. What's the second one?
Of course, not only this instruments, but some
Okay,
musicians.
this kind of instruments which just
Yeah, so this is one solution.
like a slider, very long sliders you have on keyboards and so on, because they really are big. So that so use different kind of controller. Let's call it in that way. What's the second one?
So the second one actually is using a good sound source, which you manipulate yourself. And in a Music of Strings project, I use the string instruments, but I also have a project of objectophones. Probably some of you know it. I think it was 216. It was the premiere, 14, the premiere of Trash Music piece. So it was a piece for 7 performers and like 20 objects. and they had objects not like this. They weren't instruments, they were just objects, like a lamp, for example, like a clothes dryer. You know clothes dryer? Suszarka na bieliznę. Taka duża z prętami. Tak, i tam się gra smyczkiem potem. And I have a lot of other objects. And actually, if I have 10 minutes more, I can show you a fragment of Liturgy of the Object. This is my newest piece with objectophones, because this is exactly the second solution. I mean, I have in this piece, this is a piece for orchestra, choir, and objectophones. So there is a soloist who is a percussionist, a very good percussionist, Miłosz Pękala, and he has a lot of objectophones on the stage. Proszę wybaczyć, że się tak dobrze nie przygotowałem, ale zdrowie mi trochę nie pomogło w tym. No tak, chyba muszę niestety znowuż wykorzystać internet. Mam nagranie z przewykonania, ale to nagranie jest oczywiście tajne i Państwo go nie widzieli, dlatego że Filharmonia Narodowa nie pozwala, Filharmonii Narodowej, the musicians of National Philharmony doesn't allow to record the video. I mean, I should pay them a lot of money. So the audio recording is okay, but not video recording. This is something really weird, and I have to say that you know, our government pays. I mean, all of us pays for the composer to compose the piece. Then we pay the orchestra to play the piece. And they do the recording, the radio do the recording, and I had the guy who recorded the video, and they know him, but still they don't allow me to publish this video. It should be, I don't know, it should be obvious that we do it, because it's so I have the private video.
No to są źle skonstruowane umowy, no bo jeszcze powinno być prawo do wizerunku. To jest oddzielne pole eksploatacji.
No tak, ale niestety to jest po prostu zawsze tak.
No.
Tak jest po prostu zawsze, to już nie jest pierwsza taka sytuacja. O właśnie, no ale ja oczywiście mam to wideo, tylko Państwo go nie widzieliście, nie? Muszę pokazać tutaj kawałek, od razu zanim może zacznę opowiadać. Tak jak mówiłem, utwór, as I said, the piece is for orchestra, choir and objectophones. I can say a lot of about the idea of this piece, but let me just skip to the fragment when Miłosz Pękala has objectophones solo, okay? So this is the station. It's like cardboard box, plastic box, świnka skarbonka. This is okap od kawałek okapu kuchennego. To jest takie ZK patera na... No i same takie obiekty. To jest taka słówka do wieszania kluczy metalowa, która genialnie brzmi jak się gra smyczkiem.
Rzeczywiście wszystko tam jest ta granulacja gdzieś w środku tego też, czy to są surowe te dźwięki?
Nie no, właśnie są bardzo przetworzone.
No właśnie.
Tak, właściwie w ogóle nie słychać surowe.
No.
Właśnie.
So actually... So, as you can see, Miłosz has these objects, and he actually has standard score. Oh my god. There is the solo. Oh, this is his solo. So, for example, here. Right on the keyboard, and then move the świnka, the pig. Again, right keyboard, put some objects on the table, keyboard. No i guiro is taka teczka, taka tekturowa teczka specjalna. So it's easy for the performer to play it because it's somehow he feels as a percussionist. He just press the pedal from time to time. But on the other hand, we don't hear the sound of these objects at all because we hear like only wet sound, and there is a lot of granulation, some glitchers. I don't remember exactly. There is a convolution also, the method of convolving two sounds. So each object has a contact microphone, and the sound is very intensive. Has a very intensive transformation. Yeah. So this is how it works. And what's very important for me in that piece is also the using objectophones. Not only as an instrument, but the whole piece is about consumptionism. And Liturgy of the Object is actually a title of a book of one fragment of book of Erich Fromm. Mieć czy być. A nie, przepraszam. Tak, chyba to jest z tej książki. So I wanted to say in that piece about consumptionism, about how we, I mean people of 21st century, how we create our new religion, and this religion is a religion of objects, of collecting things, of getting new things and throwing back old things, although they are still good. So not only Miłosz is playing objectophones, also choir is playing objectophones. It was tricky to have choir play the objectophones, but they did it. So as you can see, the choir is on the stage and also between the audience, and they use some objects that and some sounds that we can find all over, all around us every day. For example, plastikowa torebka, albo szeleszcząca torba, nie wiem, na pieczywo z piekarni, czy plastik, inne takie rzeczy.
How many contact microphones do you use?
Like 10, I think. 10 contact.
So it's not a big amount.
Not a big amount, only for Miłosz, because these objects for choir, of course, they were acoustic. It would be too complicated to do that.
Yeah.
And actually, my idea is to make it as easy as possible. And for example, here he has also a table, and there are a lot of objects on the table, which has one.
Yeah.
There is this little owl. Maybe I will show this owl. this nice sound is made from this metal owl. Oh, and this is quite good. To jest taki metalowy okap, który został mi w domu po remoncie kuchni. Można go zginać.
English, please.
So you can squeeze it. If you squeeze it, it changes the pitch here, and you can use the bow at the surface of it. Yeah. So the piece is the form of the piece is a little bit as a liturgy because it has parts like adoratio, contemplatio, credo, and in credo there is lyrics that the choir is singing, and the lyrics that he's singing is lyrics of advertisements and fragments of the Erich Fromm book. Actually, this is a fragment from the book, not the advertisements. So it's like a credo of contemporary human. So this is credo, and then there is gloria at the end, and other parts. And actually, the objectophones are used mostly solo. I don't use it a lot with orchestra. So he has 2 long solos, and then he plays also in the middle quiet part with orchestra. But because in orchestra have so many timbres, so many textures. If you add objectophones, it's okay, but you will lose the details. That's why I wanted to have the solos, so the audience can really see what's happening and hear the sounds. Yeah. Okay, so I think maybe that's all from me.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
So you have only this piece. You have it only for, so it's performed once for in orchestra for orchestra.
Yeah, it was at Warsaw Autumn Festival last year.
Do you also are you also thinking about composing a smaller version of the same piece only for
it is.
chamber?
Exactly. I have a solo version. So Miłosz Frękala played it solo already 2 times. He just plays the fragments that, not only the solo fragments, but also a little bit more, and he performed it just himself, because it's quite difficult to make an orchestra to play that, as you probably can imagine. Yeah. Okay. All right, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. We have we are on the messenger, so that's also the idea. Both the recording from your concert, the recording from your lecture now, they are available on the net. So in many cases, this is this kind of rotation afterwards. We have a lot of reflections and so on. So please remember that we are open on several channels, and also the CD is the essential part of the of our. So the fragment of music for strings is also available on the Audiomat album, available before the concerts. Just to all which were not maybe present in have just reminding you about.
Okay.
Well, that's really great because we are cooperating for a long time. It's also quite important that I disappeared on the beginning. I'm very sorry that I didn't introduce Wojciech, so I'm introducing afterwards, which is also the idea. I mentioned that the electronic studio of Chopin University has a director, Wojciech, now, and the profile was also changed in a significant way. We have the cooperation through PSEME, also Polish Society of Electroacoustic Music, which is also quite important. This kind of networking, which are running all the time, not during the festival only. That's also quite important to remember about. Okay, so we have a short break. Yes, we are just we are waiting for the others, which are coming 1:30. Okay, so
Maybe.
I announce 10 minutes break. You also remind you that the webcasts are available on 3 places: Studio, SME, Amus, Krakow.pl, then Audio Art PL, and also on Facebook on the website of the festival. So that's swapping all the time between different venues.
So actually, your website is now the only place where we can see that wonderful part, very small parts of that wonderful liturgy of objects. So you had your premiere.
Miniature part.
So it's on air. Oh no.
It's on air.
They will kill me. I will
Already.
have to pay some with the credit.
Royalties.
Well, I
don't have some
I will not
private
tell you
link someplace.
about the recent conversation with
But
one of
you
the
cannot
artists. She's present on the CD, but she doesn't know.
If I may ask you, this
Then
piece
I
was,
say,
I'd like to
well,
say, it was commissioned.
It was commissioned by Warsaw Autumn.
Tak.
Warsaw Autumn Festival.
It's the biggest festival of contemporary music.
When does this take
So
place?
it's in September. It's September, so it was, I don't know how old it is. 60 years old, so it's something which was created very a long time ago, and it was like the introduction of contemporary music to the Polish culture, because it was from the very communist area. So that it started in that time. So it's probably the most important event about the contemporary things which happens in Poland.
It's very funny because it started in communistic time, and you would think this is really strange. But I heard a story that it started because jazz music was not allowed.
Yep.
So they were allowed to do contemporary music. So that's how the festival started, in the middle of communistic era. And since in the rest of Poland, contemporary music is very niche. If you look at the Philharmonic here in Krakow or in the opera, it's terrible. The amount of modern music is so small. It's extraordinary. But they have this festival which is amazing. And already for years, and people are coming and people are listening to music. It's so different than the rest of the
Musisz spakować je na próbę do tego. Tak naprawdę wolę to zrobić na przykład jutro, wiesz, rano, albo coś.
No dobra, trudno.
Albo wieczorem, albo po koncercie.
Koncercie od razu zgadzam ostatnio. Dobra, to Kuba, to nie.
Zgadajmy się może przez to. Wideo nagrywasz? Może w Warszawie za tydzień.
Everyone in every contemporary composer from all over the world piece on this festival.
Aha,
So
bo
we can
gracie
also
30.
Słuchaj, zaraz, tak, 29-30 jestem w Warszawie.
to listen to
Właśnie akurat
contemporary music
to jest czwartek, piątek, czy
Nie
piątek?
pamiętam, wiesz.
Okej.
So it's very important.
Czekaj, muszę teraz się skupić, dlaczego ja
Jasne,
wziąłem.
jasne.
As I was saying, we also had a festival last week in Cyprus.
Okay.
We had a new music festival last week.
Wiesz, to się rozwija cały czas. Tak, rozwija się cały czas. Jestem teraz, co prawda dzisiaj jestem tutaj trochę taki...
You know, having these things presented to the wider public.
A jest twoja mama, tak?
I want to see
Tak,
what
tak.
country.
Dzisiaj jestem trochę okrojony.
No jasne.
Now it's a little better because we have some other events.
Teraz wiesz, jakby jest ta deska inna jeszcze
This kind of music, contemporary
i
music,
właśnie
into
silniki.
the program, but it's like once again.
Nie, ze współpracy z moim byłym już teściem, ale cały czas działamy. Po prostu elektronikiem, po prostu informatyki. Zajarał, wiesz, drukarkę, czy coś tam robi. No zaraz tam kolejną wersję tej deski będziemy. Właśnie, pokrowiec na szalku. To jeszcze zlokalizować.
Absolutely. So it's everywhere because there's a lot of humans you have to pay. So that's the simple thing. But this course about it is very important event. And it has also the project for Janicki.
Pisałem do Marka.
Every single group of people
Okej.
Przed chwileczką Jackowi i Szymonowi przekazałem taki układ.
Julek ma próbował 14, tak?
On już teraz już zaczął. Ale też bez spiny, wiesz, bez spiny, bo on nie odczytał mojego listu. Był przygotowany na 12, dopiero odczytał, więc się spóźnia, ale powinien się jeszcze spóźnić.
I came with the wife, so I need to go back to you, but I will come to your concert. Thank you. I will see you later. Thank you. Very interesting stuff.
Thank you very much. Tak. Ja muszę z nim napisać papieru. Wykorzystam ten moment. Reinhold,
A czy teraz jakby to jest wyłączone teraz?
Cześć, przychodzisz na Kubę?
Proszę?
Na Kubę przyszłaś, na wykład Kuby?
Tak,
Dobra,
ale
super.
tylko kawałek
Siadaj,
czekam na wiadomość, więc może mnie wyrwać na próbę, więc...
Dobra, spoko. To się zacznie za parę minut, także...
Dobra.
Powinno być tak jak było, ale on się przełączył. Mateusz,
trzeba.
On teraz
Jak się stać słyszalnym?
Tak, tu jest jakby mikser, nie? Czyli teraz mamy już na źródło zewnętrzne. W tej chwili jest. To nie wiem, czy Wojtek nie zamknął.
No tu wchodzę, widzę.
Tak, już działamy. Bo to jest tak. Tutaj mamy mix jest na full. Okej, no jest. Jest wszystko.
Co ciekawe.
Teraz damy.
Tak być nie powinno, ale jest.
Ale to jest takie cyfrowe, jakby wordclockowe, nie?
No wiem, ale nie powinno być.
Że tak się wyrażę, klasyczna operacja on-off powinna pomóc.
Ja tu mam po prostu, wiesz, dzisiaj mało kanałów i...
Może? Czekam, ciągle nie ma kiedy. Nie wyobrażam.
Też jestem przyjemny dla Wojtka, właśnie ciekawe. Ładnie popatrzeć. W ustawieniu wszystko jest po prostu standardowo. Udało się? Udało się?
Ale super.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much. No, that's really great. Yeah. Really great to meet you here. Yeah, it's really nice. I enjoy it. I also love all those coincidences because this is like a living może miejsce tutaj? Są wolne krzesła. Wiem, ale taki fotel. Krzesła mamy nienumerowane tutaj. I nie sprzedawaliśmy biletów na ani na poszczególne wykłady, ani na wszystkie. Globalnie. Nie, bo wiesz, Ania, mamy karnety na przykład i czasami ktoś z tym karnetem przychodzi tutaj i pyta, czy może wejść, bo on ma karnet, prawda? No więc nigdy nie było tej części, a z kolei jeżeli chodzi o koncerty, wiecie Państwo, ci, którzy chodzą na koncerty, to ja od lat marzę o tym, żeby nie było też wstępów, ale potem dodaję, so we're talking about tickets, carnet, free passes, blah blah blah, then I always explain that we have a clear contract with our copyright company called ZAIX, and all income from the tickets goes to the authors. This is quite clear, you know, I'm declaring this even. Because that I think is honest. It's quite clear that you are getting paid from the concert regular contract, but then all income, sometimes it's bigger, sometimes smaller. Everything goes to ZAIX. I don't want to say that I trust them.
So we are not putting people on the guest list.
But from that side, I'm kind of insured, protected, and I'm okay to say this also on the moral side, ethical. Those income are going for artists, not for the other purposes. Working with cabaret, working with those institutions is always different. But okay, don't talk about nonsense. We have if you are here, I'm talking to the audience on the net. There are some people. So that's really great to be here again, and we are running the next presentation. This time Kuba Janicki, the former student of the Academy of Music, but not yet Krzysztof Penderecki Academy of Music.
Yeah, just the Academy.
Just Academy of Music. Sometimes it's good to remind. Also, like we are, Ania, we were studying in Państwowa Wyższa Szkoła Muzyczna imienia i tak dalej w Krakowie, właśnie nie imienia. Jeszcze to kiedyś było przy ulicy Bohaterów Stalingradu, potem się zmieniło w ulicę Starowiśną i tak dalej. Very nice. So Kuba, that is really great because you are recently running workshop at the Audiosphere Lab, which I run at Intermedia. So you moved a little bit from one street, from Karmelicka Street to Tomasza Street, and you ended up at the concert at Everett this evening.
Yeah.
Just before the after party. So that is also makes, I like those contexts in between. So welcome.
So hi,
my
name is Kuba Janicki, and actually it's my second time this month doing this workshop in Krakow, but in a different place. It's a very symbolic moment for me to be doing lectures on this academy since I was removed from it on my master's degree. I just didn't have time to attend anymore. So now I'm returning in a different manner, and I am playing different instruments for many years and doing improvised music since my background is coming from a Musk Club, a place known for avant-garde culture and music for 30 years, which is in Bydgoszcz and was started by my father and some other people close to me. You know, it was 30 years ago. During that time, many things changed in my approach. I was also living for 5 years in a place called Sokołowsko, which is in Lower Silesia and is famous for its sound art festival called Sanatorium Dźwięku, where I started developing my instrument, which is called the soundboard, or actually board of sounds, because funny thing, its name comes from board of cheeses and meats, because I like to eat, and I often order board of cheeses and meats to degustate, but I also like to listen to sounds, and so I made a board of sounds for myself. Fun fact, recently we've been playing with a visual artist called Michał Szota, who does AI reinterpretation and AI feedback with his camera live on stage, and usually this instrument is reinterpreted by AI as a table with plates and knives and food products. But let's rewind and come to a place. How did it happen? Acknowledging what Wojciech said, we are in the era of throwing old things out and buying new things. I am not like this. I'm the exact opposite. So the first soundboard, because this is like a third version, was built in Sokołowsko by me from the elements that were leftovers from my apartment renovation, which was a parapet board, you know, these boards that you have below the window, which I took. I bought one contact microphone on Allegro for 7 zlotys, and I just screwed some springs and some screws that were left over from this renovation of the apartment and just started playing, which which was an interesting effect for me, especially that I was looking for electronic sounds, because I have also a long background in playing club music, improvised club music, like organizing techno and IDM parties for many years. So I was looking for something that could sound in that way, but would still give me the quick response between my thoughts and the actual sound that I couldn't get on electronic instruments, especially with the use of electronic sequencers, like electronic hardware to play music live was not responsive to me enough. So I decided to build sort of an electroacoustic synthesizer for myself. I mean, at the beginning I didn't think of it that way, but while the construction was in progress and while I was practicing this instrument, I just understood that this is basically an electroacoustic modular synthesizer, very primitive one. I like primitive things, and we call it, with my friends, we call it the prehistoric modular synthesizer. So what we have here right now is the latest version, which was built with the help of some of the interesting people I met on the way. First one was my neighbor, construction worker, who had the hobby of working with wood as well, and was a hobby drummer. So he built this, which is very well built and unnecessarily heavy, because he made it very thick and solid. But fortunately I don't need a case for it. So at some point I also decided to let rain and other atmospheric events change its shape. You know, it bends more and more, and it's with time as I travel, it also sounds differently. So inside this box there is like a big spring that goes through the whole box. There is a contact microphone here. I mean, it's inside so you can't see it, but basically it's a 3-channel instrument. There is 1 channel for this contact microphone inside, 1 channel for the electromagnetic pickup, and 1 channel for a recently added vibration engines panel. There is 8 vibration engines inside that can be tuned, but I will get to it later. The first basic form was like a few springs that
You're muted.
No, I'm just the first few springs that are giving a lot of reverb to the whole, to every hit that you get, and they give a lot of depth and a lot of bass. A few membranophones that can be played in different ways, like, and you can hear the reverb coming. It's natural. It's from the springs that are here. A very small primitive marimba. of some sort. And actually everything here, it's compressed too much. Everything here is, you know, each place on this box sounds differently, and I really like this raw wooden warm sound. So the guitar panel, also again acknowledging what Wojciech says, there is a lot of similarities in between what he used and what he was talking about, and this thing has like two parts, because this part here is actually amplified by this contact microphone, and the other part, of course, is amplified by the electromagnetic condenser. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, and here is like a smaller set. In the evening, if you come to the concert, you can see the full set, because normally there is like a snare drum, a bass drum, a cymbal that is here, and a hi-hat. And on all of these parts, we have contact microphones stick to them, and it's mixed within the analog mixer and sent out through a subgroup as a one-channel mono signal. Then back to like a mastering strip, which is this device here, Vermona Retroverb, which is a filter, a saturator with LFO, and a spring reverb as well, with a very cool function that you can actually have a button to that says crash, and you can crash it. You can crash it and you can change the tone. You can crash it bass-wise. But if you don't want to use the button, you do this with the box. Yeah, so when I so basically it made the drum set. It made me treat the drum set more like an electric guitar rather than a drum set. And also the compressor is a very important device here, not only to make the sound, you know, more precise and thick, because I like thick and heavy sounds mostly. It came to realization to me that, you know, you can use it as a musical instrument, because if you overload the signal and if there is a dependency in the mix, so where you play mono, or when you put this multi-channel mix to a mono output, independence of what are the levels between each instrument, there are different rhythmic patterns, linear different patterns come out. So yeah, you can play that way with rhythm and feedback. I don't know how much of it I will be able to show here, because usually it needs quite a strong amplification, which we don't have right now, but I can try, for example, on the snare drum. So as you can see here is the threshold indicator. Gestures, different places on the membrane have a different feedback. with the snare, and then when you have a lot of like the size of the membrane, of course, matters. So if we have the bass drum and the snare drum, we can play in between bass and mid frequency notes. Also, I really like the idea that in the era of being all immersive audio and 8 channels or 27 channels like on Dolby Atmos, I really like the idea that it's mono. And suddenly that you have all this richness only on one channel. Although it's not exactly one channel, because here I have a small mixer, but for example in the evening or normally it's like 16 channels input and 4 auxiliary outputs as well. So it's...
In fact, we can extend the main mixer by this as well. Just to
maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Audio art, special place, always perform a different way than usual.
And where's the feedback? I didn't get the point. It's mono out, it goes into the compressor, and then...
And goes back into the mixer.
Yeah, and where's the feedback? It's not with the speakers.
It's with the speakers.
It's with the speakers.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I understand this? No.
Well, you know, the contact microphone is just.
So if you touch the drums, you have feedback.
No, it's there.
You have a feedback and you modulate it. That's the point. And with the compressor, you make it safe.
It's safe. It's safe, but it also.
But you use it as a limiter for the feedback. That's the point.
If you take it, you know, now I have really limited channels and I don't have everything. So I, for example, cannot connect right now 2 contact microphones to be able to play, for example, between the cymbal and the snare.
Talk about the basics.
Yeah.
So
but, for example, let's say the snare does this, but then depending on how I will mix it with the guitar, if I up bass on the guitar channel, you see, this goes out and comes back. You see? You have the guitar and the snare. So you have to like.
So you have different feedback surfaces between the different things in our case. This is about overload.
Yeah.
So the sound which goes above, and then he's processing the signal which goes, because it's like a drop.
Let's make it louder. The object that you touch the surface with is super important. So all kind of another thing similar to Wojciech Błażejczyk is he was using the barbecue sticks as well.
But he called them objectophons. That's the idea of Wojciech entirely. All found object. We use it for a long time. It's almost the same.
But I always like the idea of the whole thing sounding rich and being kind of cheap. I always like the fact that it's cheap.
But then when we call it trash, then we refer to ecological and blah blah blah.
So that's the basic of it that I will extend, I guess, in the evening. Of course, if you overdrive it additionally, so that was the first manual and like electroacoustic concept of playing this whole thing. But then I sort of wanted to get into sequencing on these instruments, so to be able to sequence that synthesizer, I started thinking about how I could do it, and I didn't want to do it in a computer kind of way, so I wanted to use engines. So I asked another interesting person that I met on my way, which was my sort of father-in-law, so the father of my girlfriend, who is an electric engineer, and he got really into it, and he decided to make these things for me, which are like these are the 3D printed stands that can be adjusted in different ways. They are you can either screw them to the board or they are magnetic, so you can move them and put them in a...
Przepraszam, bo tutaj nie zrozumiałem, co on zrobił. Można...
Tak, wydrukował w 3D po prostu zaprojektował i wydrukował te stojaki, które można sobie w każdą do góry, do przodu, do tyłu regulować. No i and to this...
Dziękuję bardzo.
Tak. They have, I can show you one. You can pass it around if you want. It's like a small hammer there, and there is a 3D printed panel, also made by him with buttons, so you can use.
Explain what is the function, because it has.
It sends electricity to the hammer, like a small hammer. So I put them here, and instead of playing sticks, I can play like on the piano.
Okay.
And it's, it's very delicate, it's different sounding, and when you change the interface, also the method of thinking about what you play changes. So actually I made I'm making a fool of myself, sort of, because I wanted to quit electronics and have my electroacoustic synthesizer, and now I'm bringing myself here to play on the buttons, actually. But well.
Okay, and above the membranes.
Above the membranes, above the one spring here, I can put them wherever. I have these for a very short time, maybe like 3 weeks now, so I'm still learning on already lecturing people, so I'm still learning and kind of getting into the use, and also he made the second panel, which is maybe if you want to come closer it would be easier, like, because it's a lot of cables, it's hard to show, but it's basically a box with knobs and buttons, and it's a big power supply and controller for engines, and for this vibrating panel. So there is 8 vibrating engines. I don't know why only 7 work, but it's in a phase of production still. We are developing this project, and yeah, you can tune these engines.
And where is this vibration?
Here. And play different songs. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same like in a phone. Yeah, but yeah, you can go like this. and yeah, you can play drones with it. Vibrating organ.
To find the right term for this, because
right term for
because that's hammer, that's clear. When it hit the string, that we know that it's the phenomena which we know from the piano, from
the vibrations are oscillators, no?
But then
I would treat them as oscillators probably. I already know that I have to figure out a way that I can turn them on and just leave them on without without touching the button with the finger, because you know, once you get an 8 sound chord, you're just I can't move now. So
but that device is also can be used for muting. Yeah, when we have this on top of this, there's a metal bar. When you put the
you're talking about this.
I'm talking about the previous one. I'm talking about
hammers.
Those guys.
Actually.
And it stays down.
They sound or mute sound.
Until you keep it on, doesn't change too much. I never thought of it like that. Marek is already, and the third function that he added was the engines. So right now I have 4 mounted. There is an option to do 8, but he really overdid it. He did a lot of buttons, but it's better to have more and not use it rather than the other way around. So yeah, these are like engine sequencers. You can put. And they have all different ends. It also came to a realization that each engine is an oscillator as well, because it has its own sound. granulizer that I have here. And it's just making granules. There you go. Sorry, I have these limited channels, so I have to switch in between effects with the cable to show you. And one of my favorite additions, which I didn't intend to have, and he invented them, are these sort of like mechanical sticks that you can use for general also a granulizer, but very kind of similar, you know. The same. So I can ditch this box already. But you can also put it wherever. And also with the electromagnetic pickup, I found that it works like this. So another oscillator. Nice sequences. And yeah, I have all these different options that you can use. So I'm still editing them because so this is like five-step sequence. This is 10. This is, I don't know, this. So you can take it off and just put another one here. This is also both-sided. So let's see what happens. Oh, the rubber is just giving us a nice bass sound. So if I had a mixer with proper EQ, because this is very limited, if I have a EQ like where each band is parametric, you can actually play whole sets, because with you know putting out different frequencies, you get very So I don't know. I guess that's it. I don't know if it's not too short. That's emotional electromechanics. The thing I plan to record soon. So today's concert is actually the first concert to be played with these devices.
Oh, really?
Ever, yeah. It will be very experimental for me.
To remind it, also on our Audiomat CD, we have an excerpt of the previous workshop by Kuba at Intermedia, and he made the kind of solo performance.
Quick.
We made the agreement that it can be used as a
yeah, that's super. In 2000 years, it's gonna be sold for 100 bitcoins.
Are you adopting this to your current works with Maledive and Aux Orchestra? Or
well, yeah, I did use this with Aux Orchestra recently, because there was a piece called Bionic Environments with Aux Orchestra and with Audrey Chen on vocals. Yeah, so that was actually the first time when I used it. Yeah, sorry.
Compose it, or is it just space for improvisation?
No. It was. I mean, the orchestra part was composed. The other parts were just. I mean, improvised. Well, Audrey was just. We had just one rehearsal on the day of the concert, because it's sort of funny that you get this big apparatus and big opportunity to do something, but you don't get any time to actually work on it. But okay, it is what it is. But you know, Audrey improvised completely. I just showed her where the entrances are. The orchestra part was composed like in a sort of aleatoric matter, so there were just functions. So I tried to treat orchestra like patches, like modular patches or something. You know, so you just put it there, and everybody has a function, and it just repeats in non-symmetrical loops. So these are like coincidences, but it's sort of controlled, right, dynamically and in terms of color. And I was improvising on top of that, but I knew which sounds I'm using in each part. Actually, I don't have it with me, but I have it mastered already, because it was on the national radio. Yeah, and I plan to mix it on the opposite of what I'm doing here. I plan to mix it in Atmos because there's a new opportunity to do it in Katowice, where my friend my friend has this new studio, and he's really amazed by what's possible. And so I think maybe let's mix it in a way that no one will able to listen to it.
Almost well.
Yeah, only there in Katowice, like a special session. Yeah. So did I say everything? I mean, I have a fact, but I don't think it.
Your stories from.
So if I understood well, you did a piece for symphonic orchestra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know this.
Not symphonic, but chamber orchestra, only strings.
Only like 30 musicians, 18 musicians, something like that?
No, I would say 30 or something.
30,
okay. Something like that.
Similar to Zekratzer, in terms of the amount of people. Okay.
Yeah, but only strings.
String orchestra. Yeah. String chamber orchestra.
So and I'm also using this with Maledive now, but it's still in a phase of I'm still learning. It's just because when you build something like this and it's not like produced by some workshop, you just discover that you mess up the whole time. You make it and then you're like, oh no, I didn't think of that. You have to redo it, but I like the hard way, I guess.
Does it mean that you cease the regular drum kit on Maledive and play with saxophone on this only?
No, I didn't yet, but it's mostly because I know that I have too much, but it's because I'm not ready yet, I guess. the last few months are super intense. I have no time to rest at all, and especially not time to practice properly, like in peace. And I am preparing to drop the drum set and just want to do the board and standing and and to have that feeling I had whilst playing electronic music only. Yeah, and I think I also another version of this is on the way. I mean, in my head, because I'm thinking of cutting it in pieces and to be able to EQ each part even more. Like the equalizer is super important part of the mixer to me, and the more complex it is, the equalizer, the more control you can get. Like for example here I don't have it because it's not parametric, and at my studio I have Midas U16 which has parametric EQ on each band, so then it's really like the equalizer is becoming a separate instrument that you can actually, well, I didn't show you how it goes with the cymbal. It's even better with a hi-hat cymbal to be seen in the evening, but you know, the cymbal is like all of a sudden but when you have the hi-hat and you press with your foot, it goes quite a few semitones actually. And when it's overdriven, you can like, and very highly gained, and when you use all different kind of sticks with different thickness, you can get another world of what cymbals usually are. Yeah, so I guess to be continued in the evening because I think I said everything I can here. Are there any questions?
That is a chance to continue. Do you have any questions?
Yes, one question. Is the fun to be surprised by the instrument, or is the idea to really have a fixed instrument at the end, like one instrument, you know exactly what's coming out?
I mean,
or is it just
no? It depends.
On the concept to be surprised yourself.
It depends. Like for example, it depends on how much time do you have for rehearsal, because it usually takes a long time to set up with this. It's about 2 hours, and if I have these 2 hours, and if I have a proper mixer, which is the most important part always, then it's like I'm not gonna be surprised. But you know, there are different.
Okay, but it's a imprecise instrument anyway, because if you put it a millimeter on the wrong
yeah.
you have another rhythm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then when
so you think in textures or something like that, I don't know, or in rhythmical patterns perhaps. Or
it's surprising sometimes, but
you will not find exactly the
same. Yeah, it is surprising sometimes,
yeah.
And especially when we play, for example, with Maledive in a duo, where Marek is playing saxophone on a guitar amplifier without the mouthpiece, so only with how do you call them? Klappe. I don't know. with claps.
Yeah. The keys.
Yeah, the keys. Yeah, and so then his sound is going into my membranes. So if he changes a note on his instrument, then it changes my feedback as well. So we are in a large feedback loop together, and it's, you know, super good. You know, it's like, but me and Marek are basically husband and wife, or
yes,
or wife and wife, or husband and husband. We don't know. It's just without the sex, but other than that, it's like, well, there is sex, but it's not non-physical.
Platonic.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the element of the surprise. Actually, I think that's the way I play, because whenever you go in a different room, in a different on a different speaker, with such a big gain, because it's almost every channel is like plus 60 or something, and each mixer takes it differently. You know, if you have high quality, the overdrive is nice. If you have lower quality, the overdrive is not that nice, so you have to find another way around it, and it's always something new. But it's like a dialogue with this system the whole time. Yeah, you have to catch up, I guess. Yeah.
I have a question, Kuba, because you know we know each other very long. You have a background, still academic background, playing in different ensembles, and then you've got the point, which is like a really personal set of different objects, creating your own instrument. So, in fact, it's like this is a little bit like your language. You are using this for expressing your stuff. When you are playing with your group, with Marek and the other groups, then it's like, in many cases, it's improvised, based on some pre-composed in different ways. But when I run the festival, there are very special cases when the author, designer, performer, composer gives this instrument to the others. So I have several very great examples. Even coming back to Harry Part, you know, that there were instruments available. So do you think that with your instrument it can be a series of commissioned work written and composed with the use of this instrument?
I never thought of it that way. I guess, yeah, if someone has enough time and would like to listen, because it's, you know, it's like a 20-year-old car that you can drive, and you know that if you do that it's gonna be fine, but then someone else gets into it and it's immediately broken. You know, like you have to know how to drive it, I guess. So because it's not, you know, it's yeah, you have to check how it reacts, and if someone would practice. I never thought of it, to be honest. Once I even had the situation, I made music
for me the typical answer is rather no. It's rather like that's the sphere, that's the territory. And it's not about the ownership of something like
maybe.
that, but it's so intimate, it's so delicate, it's so personal. And it was designed by you with this.
But I don't know if anything that I have here is so innovative. It's kind of, you know.
Innovative.
I wouldn't say so. It's all very old stuff, but I guess it's sort of like.
Reinhold, do you know Stahl Quartet? Jan Henke?
No.
No, from Dresden.
I know.
Okay, they built
they
up
played
the
at Music Festival.
And at a certain moment, they played Bach.
Björk.
They play Olivier Messiaen. They start to play other.
Any new
Bob Rootman.
We know this from many
Do you know Reinhold? Do you know Bob Rootman?
Who? Bob Rootman.
Because he inspired them to extend this.
Yeah, but there's a huge tradition of doing these instruments, also these amplified instruments. If you think about package music,
they build up the hard, big, extended steel cello.
But I think the instrument, the crazy idea here is that you have a kind of physically modulating prehistoric synthesizer. It's a feedback system. And in every synthesizer you have a feedback system, but you include it in the feedback circles, you include a physical thing, and I think that's something else than those kind of
I have hundreds of examples, that's why I'm just
okay, so I didn't know this. Okay.
When we share, you know, we just open like Mercurius Wagen by Horst Riekels, the pipes, organ pipes hanging in the shape of wings, and in certain moment he started to play hindemic music with this instrument, you know. So for years it was very personal, very intimate, and then he's moving to make a translation of the classical repertoire to this instrument, and it start to you know, sharp quartet. They have a basic label, langsam.
Okay.
Because to make this instrument vibrating, you need time.
Okay.
All they play slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also beautiful.
Yeah.
So they're making translation
Yeah.
to this instrument, and it's guaranteed that it will be slow. So you have to also adopt to move slowly with the sounds, which goes very slowly. Slow walk.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice.
But responding now that you asked, I never thought of it, and I'm not very attached, to be honest. I'm like I'm already looking for something new. I mean, because this is like one thing, but then you know,
this is a utopic and crazy idea. You know,
if someone would ask,
Chinese guy coming with $1 million and say, "Oh, it's so nice. Can I make a copy?"
If he comes with $1 million, he can take
I want
it.
Hey, so you read it.
Just
You get a
can build a new one, like millions of them.
Nawet 6,
No, I remember this talk with Paul Panhuisen from Apollo House.
Yeah, but
Sure.
There was a lot of
the funny thing is, commercially, that this thing got me a job making sound design for IKEA.
where?
Yeah.
For IKEA.
IKEA.
Yeah, for IKEA. Now, right now, if you go to any Polish store, you can of IKEA, you can hear my jingles, which are made, because people saw that and they came. Yeah, maybe you could build a table of IKEA products, and then we will record it, and this is gonna be a new sound identification for IKEA. Well, at the end, they didn't let me build a new one, but then I was already contracted, so I went to the store and we took a lot of products, and I recorded each one separately, and then I made music of these products. And now, if you go to IKEA, at the end of every commercial, that the guy says something like, and there's like, beep, beep, beep.
Super.
Naprawdę. Bardzo to jest ciekawe, bo myślałem.
Well, from one side, I think we should, I don't know, avoid, you know, commercialize those.
Avoid?
Things.
Why?
Come on. No, I'm just talking. I'm speculating that one natural idea is, like in all composers, we are, you know, keeping the author rights, and they don't want to. But then, well, you know.
But they are paying author rights.
Parmigiani did the jingle for Charles de Gaulle. Spanish now is
then
working
we
for have different
examples.
For me, it's like they are not taking the rights. They like the commercial agency that's doing the job. They are taking 50% of the Zikes. But they are actually involved, that, you know, they organize everything. They're like your managers, and they also are involved in the music. They are saying like, oh, maybe take this out, put that in or something. So I'm like, yeah, okay. and I still didn't get to, because it was last year, so I still didn't get to take care of this properly. But now I was like buying some furniture in IKEA, some plates and stuff, and I heard that, I forgot about it, and I heard that, and I'm like, okay, I'm here for 2 hours, it already played 3 times, if it's happening in all the stores in Poland, it's like, come on, I have to check how Zix works with this, you know, it's only like, you know, 5 seconds or something each time, but...
No, there are many examples. Benoit Maubrey from Canada, living in Bites, down from Berlin.
I'm starting to pack.
Large stuff, and mainly using this experimental, beautiful project for commercially. They're selling this from Mercedes, you know. Something. Audio ballerinas. The opening of some new car saloon. And they're doing great experimental.
Niemalże przekonany.
Mercedes.
Zrobiłem też pudliszki i dostaję z telewizora cały czas.
Z telewizora?
No.
To masz złą umowę po prostu z agencją, bo to powinno być dużo więcej niż agencji. Z reguły wykonawcy sobie zastrzegają, dlatego że to i tak 3 miesiące leci, więc się lepiej jest umówić na pieniądze.
Ale ja pieniądze też dostałem.
Ale ja wiem, ale z agencji. Przez 3 miesiące regularnie.
Nie, no dostałem. Jak ktoś zapłacił.
Okej, ja ci tylko mówię, że ja się tym zajmuję i wiem, że ludzie robią często ten błąd, że...
Nie wiem, stary, ja to zrobiłem, wiesz, na kolanie w busie, ktoś mi zapłacił dużo, 10 dziesiątek i jakby miałem ale jak uważasz, że powinien, jakby nie wiem, bardzo mało wymagająca praca. Dzięki.
Jak macie Państwo czas, to ten klarnet kontrabasowy to jest unikalny instrument. On będzie go pokazywał Julian Paprocki dzisiaj o 16:30, także warto przyjść, bo potem on zagra utwory dla niego skomponowane, też odjazdowe zupełnie, ale znowu ten jego wykład jest wstępem do koncertu i tutaj możemy się przyglądać z bliska takiemu instrumentowi, który na ogół nie jest dostępny. No, nie basowy klarnet, tylko kontrabasowy. I dla niego piszę mnóstwo kompozytorów teraz utwory, bo facet ma nieprawdopodobną możliwość. I'm talking about Julian Paprocki, the young contrabass clarinetist. He has an introductory lecture, 4:30. And then later he will play just beautiful music written. But here first, he's also a philosopher and musicologist, so we will talk a little bit different about the instrument and the repertoire for this. No tak tylko mówię, bo...
A teraz między tym nie będzie nic,
Now we have a break. We have 2 hours break here. O 16:30 warto przyjść na Juliana, bo ma bardzo dużo niezwykłych zupełnie rzeczy do powiedzenia. Ja się tak trochę boję o te niektóre pory, już sobotnie wykłady i niedzielne, to wiecie, to tak, no, tak widać, że nie ma tłumów. A były tłumy tutaj, było tak, że przenosiliśmy krzesła z korytarza. To jest malutkie
Sobota jest specyficzna, ludzie sprzątają mieszkania,
wiesz, to jest trudny temat w ogóle. Trudny temat ciągnąć. Well, that's not easy run this extra event like a audio conference.
Byłeś na jazzie czy na klasyce?
Sometimes considering
Najpierw na klasyce, ale jak zobaczyłem co się dzieje, to przeszedłem na jazz. Nie chciałem, żeby ktoś zawracał głowę.
I tutaj u nas.
Mission, you know this.
A tu się poznałeś z Markiem na jazzie?
No, but I'm doing too long.
A nie w klubie.
Even struggling with the equipment,
ja przyszedłem i zacząłem pytać ludzi po prostu, kto gra improwizowaną muzykę, czy ktoś gra tutaj i tylko mówili, że Marek. No to zacząłem chodzić po korytarzach i to szukałem. Podchodziłem do ludzi i pytałem, ty jesteś Marek?
Dziwne, że przez ojców się nie poznaliście.
A głównie dlatego, że część...
Wtedy kto jeszcze, tylko że wtedy byliście w duecie, czy jeszcze mieliście jakiegoś Maxa, czy jakiegoś innego?
Nie pamiętam, no po prostu zaczęliśmy się bujać, wiesz, to raczej tam na początku było więcej chlania, kurde, nie? On tam potem grał u mnie na dyplomie coś, wiesz, ja u niego, a potem po prostu z Wojtkiem, nie? Zaczęliśmy grać i jakby u Wojtka głównie się zaczęło, no przecież Malediwy założyliśmy w 2019, nie?
Dochodzimy do tego, że tam na dole stoi nasz od 3 lat spalony.
Chyba bardziej popularny niż Wojtka Sosa.
Co to ma za znaczenie?
Festiwalu. Zeszłorocznego festiwalu.
Jak wiesz, dla ciebie nie ma, ale jak on, dla niego to myślę, że może mieć jakieś.
Najważniejsze, żebyśmy wszyscy byli szczęśliwi.
Ale wczoraj szubówę.
Ale nie wiem, tam popularność, każdy jest popularny w jakiś sposób.
Ja przekonałem chłopaków, że te paczki nasze wielkie mają bardzo dobry bas. Jest ich 8.
Ja mówię dlatego, że po prostu ten zespół bazował na tym, że
ja to 4 lata temu kupiłem 8. Najpierw 4, potem 4 i mamy około u nas studio w sali koncertowej. W 2019 roku. Tylko nie widać ich nigdy, rozumiecie, bo nie ma tak często koncertów, ale...
But I'm here with my mom and my son because I thought maybe to do a audio family trip. But now I have to go for rehearsal and then I'm meeting with them to maybe have a walk or something. And to put my son to sleep so he can come in the evening for the concert.
To są w ogóle takie za mądry. trochę.
Okay, so see you later.
See you later.
Trudny do uzyskania. Tak namieszał, że w tej chwili. So, 4 or
No, I'm coming
5,
at 5 because I have to be downstairs then anyway, and I can go in directly
you
or
go
something.
directly to the
Okay.
concert hall. I'm really here. If anything happens, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much.
See you later.
See you.
Marku,
No?
czyli tam będą jacki zapasowe jakieś, nie?
Tak, tam jest dużo jacków, tak.
I ten mikserek,
Możemy
to
też wziąć,
sprawdziliśmy,
wiesz,
to
ten
tam,
możemy wziąć,
ale
tam
ten
jest
to
ten
właśnie
duży.
ja bym nie chciał go używać,
Nie,
przepraszam,
no,
ale...
To nie o to chodzi, w ogóle nie o to chodzi, to nie rozumiemy się. To jest po prostu myślenie na zapas, wiesz, czasami dobrze jest, że nagle nam
wiem,
brakuje
ja
jednego
muszę właśnie
kanału,
sobie
wiesz,
nie-
i wtedy i jeszcze jeden mikser gdzieś tam pod spodem chowamy i masz wszystkie źródła, które chcesz, to w tym sensie.
Nie, to bardziej mi zależy na tym, żeby mieć tą ekwalizację, bo widzisz, bez tego na przykład nie mogę się, wiesz, pozbyć w trakcie jakiegoś sprzężenia albo coś, ja muszę mieć tą opcję. To jest
I
dosyć...
są tylko 2 sztuki, więc ja się już z Piotrkiem mówiłem, że ten duży mikser analogowy ty dostajesz jako stage mixer i od niego wyjście idą do naszego cyfrowego miksera, który obsługuje 8 głośników.
No ja myślę, że po prostu moje...
Do tego wprost się podłącza klarnecista basowy.
Myślę, że mój monosygnał po prostu...
Już nie ma,
Myślę, że ten mój monosygnał po prostu puśćmy na 8 głośnikach.
To nie chodzi o ilość źródeł, prawda?
Wiem, ale mówię, że po prostu wydajmy mnie na 8 głośników mono i
Z
wszystko.
tym nie ma problemu żadnego.
No
Ale też może być tak, że ten mikser, który będziesz używał jako stage mixer, masz 3 podgrupy stereo.
No.
Ma jedną grupę i 2
Tak,
podgrupy,
ale
które
ja
ma 6 tych.
Mogę wysłać wszystko, to nie mam...
Ale wiesz dlaczego?
Może jak czas...
To jest ciekawe właśnie.
Jak czas pozwoli.
Podepniesz do jakiegoś sekwensera i będzie tymi...
Ja mam jeszcze jedną rzecz. Tu układasz w przestrzeni i jeszcze pytanie jest, czy zgadzasz się na to, żeby... Chociaż strzelam sobie teraz w kolano. Czy zgadzasz się na to, że
Zawsze.
to jest kamera i na dużym ekranie oglądamy w górę,
Tak, to jest dobry pomysł.
No właśnie.
To jest dobry pomysł.
Puściłem to, ale nie mam odzewu.
Ja tak chciałem na AUXO zrobić, ale...
ściągam szybko z domu ode mnie kamerki.
Kamerę?
No nie, bo to chodzi o to, żeby jeszcze nawet komórką.
Niech opar dronem przyleci.
Prawda jest taka, że telefon tylko taki statyw dokładnie jak tam jest, puścić na telefon i to jest nawet lepsza jakość czasami niż przez kamerę.
No oczywiście, niż tych...
Nie no właśnie ostatnio z ojcem porównywaliśmy, bo ojciec tak całe życie na tych GoPro i coś tam się ostatnio stało, że po prostu nie wziął czy tam coś i po prostu wziął z kieszeni telefon i nagle oglądamy i po prostu wiesz, jaka głębia ostrości w ogóle.
Ale jak potrzebujesz rybiełko i potrzebujesz szeroki kąt, no to ten GoPro...
No to...
No nie, to też
masz. To w iPhone'ie też masz. Nie,
no.
Mało tego
to ja w ogóle nie dotykam, wiesz,
Grzesiu ma 20.
To w ogóle nie ma co porównywać.
Dodatkowo.
Więc jak chcesz, to mogę pożyczyć na koncert. Ja sobie podładuję.
To wiesz co, Agata, to umawiajcie się
Tylko musiałabym sprawdzić ilość pamięci, żeby nie było
no,
przypału, że w
Nie, ale Agata, no bo Piotrek tam jest.
A no.
I jest też Jacek Kok, no to oni obsługują technikę, więc
to
ja im dałem ten temat.
To oni co rozumiesz?
Nie rozumiem. Ja im teraz podam, że Agata będzie na koncercie i mogłabyś nawet chwileczkę tam wcześniej być, no to może to byśmy spróbowali, bo rzeczywiście to często takie rozwiązania są najlepsze, wiecie. Czasami tak, że przez ileś tam godzin się ludzie męczą czymś, bo
to ja mogę pożyczyć telefon, a teraz pousuwam, żeby mieć pewne sprawdzenie mam pamięci, nie? Żeby nie
ja
było
próbuję ich przekonać, żeby sprawdzili to na swoim telefonie.
Albo jak podepną do kompa, to mogą nagrywać przez telefon,
albo dawniej do
obrazu, takie po 10 koła, takie wiesz, konsole, cały czas tylko z tego korzystam.
I już jest.
Tylko będzie opóźnienie chyba spore.
No ale czasami to nie ma tej... Ja tam jak grałem...
Bogaty jesteś znowu.
No Marcina, ten
nie musisz.
To znaczy ja nie jestem gołodupcem po prostu. Jak mam jakiekolwiek pieniądze, to od razu coś robię. Albo płytę dodaję, albo coś robię od razu.
Grzeźnił w kablach,
zawsze, żeby
rzuciłem swoją komórkę, wiesz.
A inwestowanie?
Z komputerem.
Co, w krypto czy
no ja teraz z Bitcoina
no nie.
Wyszedłem,
A córcia mi mówiła to, a ja nie.
Ja 100% zrobiłem w rok.
Wojciech jest milionerem już. Ma 22 lata.
I wtedy wiesz, raz jak ci to siądzie, no potem właściwie tego nie używasz.
Wojciech jest załamany, no bo wiesz,
no tak,
bo nigdy w życiu w normalnej robocie.
Ja też nie byłem nigdy.
Wiesz, Kuba, ale to jest co innego. Coś tam umiesz, jesteś artystą i...
No wiesz, no co, no jak umiał zrobić,
ja
no to co?
A
jakiego Wojciech? Kto to jest?
To z
Może wiem, ale muszę...
filmów obejrzeć i ocenić do
I tych wykładów, ja pamiętam wykłady, gdzie ja byłem tylko z osobą, która jest, ustawiamy się do kamery, robimy transmisję i dziękujemy ludziom, których nie ma.
No ja teraz tak wziąłem w ogóle totalnie, ale właśnie zaszalałem i zagrałem.
Uważaj,
tak, wyjdę już.
No, bo
zagrałem kartą w ogóle kredytową.
Bo ten kabel ściągnę na dół, żeby nie wywalił kamery.
No. I wszystko odzyskałem i drugie tyle. Tego.
Możesz dalej mówić, ja bym sprawdził tylko jak głos ucieka.
To na razie, do zobaczenia.
Do zobaczenia.
Dobra,
dzięki.
Cześć Agata.
Dzięki, że przyszłaś.
Myślałem, że Reinhold będzie
super ciekawy.
Rzeczywiście zainteresuje.
My się znamy, nie? Przecież opatrzona jeszcze.
Wiesz, może. A, tak.
Bo to tutaj, wiesz, tutaj w tym panelu
ja się ostatnio już tak jestem jakiś kurczę, muszę naprawdę chyba mieć jakąś przerwę, bo przestaję kumać.
Wysokość, szerokość.
A to jesteś ty! O kurde, to rzeczywiście, to cię bardzo nie poznałem wtedy. Myślałem, że jesteś od Krzysztofa z zespołu, a to ty jesteś...
75 rok.
Fajnie, że Wojciech tego nie kupił.
Stąd 16 wyjść. Albo zsumowane mixed out.
No, z tą Ikeą to mnie rozbroiło.
No, tak, pamiętam. Już teraz.
No tak,
to będzie bardzo interesujące. Cieszę się, że Marek mnie bardzo wczoraj zachwalał.
Ja to przesyłałem do w ten sposób próbowałem to jednak ocalić ten sprzęt, wiesz? A potem był skok na ten sprzęt tam się zmienił szereg.
Na Ikeą to mnie mega rozbroiłeś, bo też jestem perfekcjonistą, muszę to skończyć.
Z czym,
że kończę to mam.
Bo ja wiem, bo mi mówi.
No możliwe, no ja nie wiem, nie chcę tutaj wiesz psioczyć, ale mógłbym.
Co robił na tym tak naprawdę? Może dobrze.
Sorry, dla mnie to jest żenada. Gdyby nie Marek, to tutaj w ogóle nie ma sensu wchodzić chyba.
No nie,
no jest ciężko. Ale w każdym razie zawsze, tak jak byłem w Ikei, to zwracałem uwagę na ten dźwięk i myślałem, że to jest po prostu zwykły woodblock jakiś.
A nie, bo ty mówisz o tym woodblocku, to nie, to teraz jest taka nowa.
To jest nowa, to musi się przejść i posłuchać.
Muszę lecieć już. No niestety, bo mnie czekał, niestety nie mogę być wieczorem.
No,
ale ten taki...
leci teraz.
To jest stary. I on jest cały czas używany, ale... Nie, to ja jingle im porobiłem takie, że oni po prostu mają tam różne kampanie.
W markecie w Pekinie.
Tak,
i mam to już
teraz jest świąteczna akurat.
I to jest po prostu niesamowite, to jest jak trzyma w ogóle. Nie mnące.
No ale co?
A naturalne.
No nie wiem, ja w sumie nie jestem najlepszy w udzielania rad, bo ja tam na uczelni byłem, ale
ja już też mam jakiś tam
ja zawsze...
Też tak. Ja myślę, że szkoda tylko, że tak
pobierają płynnika.
zdanie, no i
to jest właścicielem tego.
No jest jeszcze inny niż myślimy.
Nie wiem, wiesz co, ja całe życie właśnie się sam uczyłem wszystkiego.
Właśnie wiem i wszyscy tak mówią, że
niedawno
Mix with the Master, subskrypcję sobie kurwa kup.
Że ci
nie wiem, to jestem taki, że
wymagania od
nich na początku
jak potrzebujesz, to idź.
W ogóle generalnie my tu ludzie
nie wiem, na ile oni są autorytetami artystycznymi.
że nasz
mamy rację.
Myślę, że mamy wprowadzać, bo widzimy, co się zadziało w Iraku. Może nie Syrii, ale w Iraku.
Ale faktem jest, że jak mnie na przykład...
No to na pewno nie, jakby nie wiem ile to tam kosztuje.
W tej chwili tak jakoś mogę sobie zrobić sabatika spokojnie teraz.
Wiesz, no są to jednak grający, kurde, doświadczeni ludzie, nie?
Żeby tam
Otwarci, kurczę, no.
Tak, chwilkę zobaczę się,
nie wiem jak
tak,
jest teraz, ale jak pamiętam wtedy, no to było właśnie takie zrówce, no.
Nawet na rok mogę pojechać, z dobrą kasą, jest gabinet mój, nawet mi pokazali jakieś honorowe oznaczenia tam węgian konserwatory, do którego się przeniósł duży festiwal.
No to jest dziwne z kolei dla mnie.
No i jak ja tam otwierałem ten festiwal,
taki jest kierownikiem,
zaskakujące jak na orszak,
muzyczny, ale to nie jest przecież jakiś orzeł, kurde.
To mówi samo za siebie też, wiesz.
Nagle tak się
Przecież on jest na pozycji, kurde, no się
wiesz, to był takim eleksem, wiesz, po całym kampusie, wiesz, pokazywali, ci specjalnym gościem. Nie byłem w ogóle na to przygotowany. Tylko mówiłem, że rzeczywiście przyjadę, chociaż jest ostro, bo miałem tu
na początku był pan
a potem taki
niestety to już jak ja tu przyszedłem,
się rypnął z Dadanem Mickiewiczem i kupił tak bilety, że byłem tam półtora dnia, nie 2,5, półtora. Lecie w górę,
teraz jest odgrzebywanie tego, co się podziało.
Tak, w sumie może taki Maciek na kierownika wcale nie jest
zdjęcia,
no są, on w zasadzie wiesz,
nie, wiesz,
bycie kierownikiem, a jednak bycie
profesorem,
no on odblokowuje sporo rzeczy, ono luz.
Można uratować tego 20 minut, cały utwór. Pod koniec jest określony, nawet
mogę Cię pościć na chwilę, to usiąść,
nie miało szans. Miałem krótką 15 minut rano, nic nie działało, już musiałem pędzić z nim gdzieś tam, wiesz, potem masz cały czas też jeszcze to myślenie, jeszcze ten koncert. Przede mną Lilendy występuje bardzo długim koncercie, nie ma przerwy. Pojawia się nazwisko, wchodzisz na
scenę. Czy chcesz zabrać na dół, bo słyszałem, że
i potem jak zagrałem,
wiesz co, no jeszcze nie jestem gotów do tego, ale chcesz pomóc za chwilę?
Też mówię o tych perkusyjnych sprawach.
Mimo tych
na
końcu zaczynam mówić.
Statyw nie.
Oni nagle wyłączyli
talerz i werbel. Statyw do werbel. Nie werbel, statyw do werbel.
A jak potrzebujesz też pomocy ze sprzętem, to też chętnie pomogę.
Właśnie
ale zaraz będziemy się znosić.
O ile z tymi wracam.
I pewnie się podchodzi do mnie, że mikrofon przedstawia i ja to mówię, powtarzam. No i tak, i udaje mi się też komórkę włączyć, że one się nie biorę papieru, nie mówię. This is about inference. It's not exactly the same like presence.
Nie, bardzo dobrze.
But I want to tell you something. Mam tą kartkę, którą tak już jesteśmy zmęczeni, zdenerwowani, ale piszę do niej, żeby bardzo uważali, żeby się rozglądali naokoło, żeby dbali nie tylko o siebie, ale również o innych. Piszę im to. Wiesz, taki jest, no wiadomo, tragiczny, ale ukryty. No i potem jak podpisuję się, zbijam to, wynoszą mnie z tyłu i tam już taksówka czeka na lotnisko. Jeszcze mi zamknął daje jakieś dwie paczki prezentów. Wielkie. Pyta się mnie, czy mogę to zabrać. Ja w tym momencie sobie uświadomiłem, że ja przyleciałem z bagażem podręcznym, ale bilet mam z bagażem zarejestrowany. No mówię, dawaj. Wstałem do samochodu, tam mi to rozdzielają, to taką i powiązali na dwie paczki. Dopiero jak lecę do Warszawy, to uświadomiłem, że z Warszawy do Warszawy nie mam. Tak, mając godzinę między przylotem a odlotem, zrobiłem taką jazdę do fast tracku. Dowiedziałem się, że impost jest przy fast tracku. Widzę ten impost, ale facet mnie nie wpuszczał, mówił, że pan przyleciał.
Ja przyleciałem, ale to żonuję.
Ale lecę zablokowany, tam nie ma tej...
To nie jest łatwe też, nie?
Nie mam...
Jak to nie jest twoje dziecko, mieszkasz, budzi cię w nocy.
Mam impost na terenie, na starym terminalu krajowym. Nie wiem, czy to kojarzy, jak wygląda...
Że coś tam trochę...
Wyobrażam sobie tego
inaczej.
Tak.
To dobrze, że tak
jest dworzec, spada jak cholera. Ja wrzucam te paczki, swój bagaż, wózek i pędzę, równocześnie nadaję na imposta, wypełniam, wiesz, nadawczą tą. Dopadam tego
ona też nie chce mieć.
Otwiera mi się skrzynka, wrzucam te dwie paczki, zaczaskuję i pędzę z powrotem do tego i zdążyłem. Na następny dzień przychodzi wiadomość, że już jest do odbioru, koło mnie na osiedlu.
To się tak zrobiło, wiesz, coraz ciężej,
ja zamknął pół, jak mi dawał te dwie paczki, to powiedział, że ma dla mnie
paczki z irracjonalne, nie mogę być, wiesz, nie mogę rzeczywistej przyszłości
zgodziłem się,
wiązać z kimś, kto nie ma ręki nawet do tego, nie?
Ale też nie wyrzuciłem gdzieś tam, tylko
nie, że ten, tylko to nie, że coś robiła złego, tylko że po prostu ona była już coraz bardziej, wiesz, zmęczona. Widać było, że sobie nie radzi jakoś z tym. Przez to się kłóciliśmy, wiesz, coraz bardziej o byle, wiesz, o cokolwiek.
To dużo ciekawsze od tego wideo.
To tak się po prostu uzewnętrzniało, cały czas było napięcie w domu.
Zostawiłem.
Nie wiem, myślę, że wiesz, no można było
to
próbować
takie
nie być
cudowne, wiesz,
razem.
koincydencje.
Gorzej, gdyby w drugą stronę poszło.
Bardzo
też nie wiem,
myślę, że
Ale powiedzmy,
ten
ja po rozwodzie miałem.
załóżmy, że to
relacje,
było,
że
że to
byłem
było
dziewczyną,
wino i
które
to
miałem
już
dzieci,
nie
to też
Słuchaj, ty dałeś temu studentowi, tak? Rzeczy z
Tak.
stołu. Dobra. No
To ja będę uciekał, bo to masz
Dobra,
opowiadać.
dobra,
Jeszcze raz, wszystkiego dziękuję bardzo. Bo
I
bardzo
mam
ciekawe.
płytę z festiwalu, jeżeli jej nie masz.
Bo tam są wszyscy.
O, super. To bardzo dziękuję.
Dzięki wielkie jeszcze raz. Do zobaczenia.
Jeszcze raz do zobaczenia. Mam nadzieję.
Cześć.
Jak będę w Krakowie, to...
Uważaj na kabel.
No właśnie, jak wpadnę,
Za tobą.
wpadnę, to zapraszam na kawę może kiedyś.
Dobra, koniecznie.
To często jest artystyk, także...
Bez problemu.
Tak? Bo teraz się już nie chcę, bo...
No bo tutaj na wymiar już tam też na mnie
A
czekają.
Kuba też jest zajęty, bo ty...
Tak, dzięki, ja na próbę
jeszcze
jadę
raz, no
teraz.
właśnie.
Dzięki, że wpadłeś.
Brawo, super to jest.
Dziękuję ci.
Do zobaczenia.
Kuba, ty sobie poradzisz, w sensie zamówisz sobie
Dziękuję
tego. Cześć. Bo ja wiesz, ja nie mam samochodu tutaj. Więc
Dobrze,
dlatego,
no spokojnie.
Tak, poradzimy sobie.
Zamawiam taksówkę.
Oni
Spakowałem się właśnie lepiej trochę niż wcześniej, więc przekazuję tutaj na rzecz Akademii jedno pudełko plastikowe na kable. Bo udało mi się wszystko wsadzić do jednego, żeby mieć mniej.
To dawaj go tutaj do studia, że zostawiłeś gdzieś tam.
Jest, tu stoi.
Tu jest, no to dobra. Ona się to przyda zawsze.
Tak, a to...
Ale wiesz co tu jest w ogóle takim sztosem, Kuba? To co tam jest na tych półkach. Każda z tych płyt kosztuje ponad 100 euro.
Nie no w ogóle to, a ten mikser stary...
Ale stary, każda z tych płyt kosztuje ponad 100 euro.
Nie no to nie chcę gdzieś chodzić, ale obok studio są oscylatory lampowe, Brier & Carr. To jest dopiero, wiesz, wartość działające. Czyste sinusy.
A nie możemy tam nagrać?
Możemy. Dobra.
No ale perkusyjnych jest gamelan za 2 miliony przecież.
No nie no to właśnie to był mój powód rezygnacji.
Gamelan zwali.
Tak, to był mój powód rezygnacji, bo w tej sali, gdzie jest gamelan i to wszystko, ja pamiętam jak Pilch to zrobił, a tam siedzieli i po prostu żołądkową ciepłą pili i grali w Deluxe Ski Jump, kurde, i mówię nie.
No, to mniej więcej tak jest ten klimat. Ale jest też masa instrumentów. No ale gamelan to jest coś, czego nigdy nie pojmę.
Zajebiste, ja lubię.
To się nie pojmę, po co to zostało kupione tutaj.
No wiesz, no Pilch kurde miał
Dla
dobrą...
prestiżu, no.
No nie no, miał też możliwości, no miał zajawkę, chciał, żeby się kurde rzeczy rozwijały, wiesz, no on był przecież też od etnicznych instrumentów, wiesz, specem.
Tylko problem polega na tym, że tego nikt nie używa.
No, jasne,
może
nie?
kiedyś, nie?
Ale wiesz, no może liczył na to, że...
No nie no, coś tam kompozytorzy ci nasi uczelniani coś tam tknęli tego, ale to tak pojedyncze rzeczy, nie?
No Warszawa teraz chyba jest najbardziej do przodu, jeśli chodzi o kompozytorów i taką edukację, nie? Bo tam rzeczywiście dużo
Nie wiem,
jest...
na przykład Wojciech jest Błażejczyk super, a na
Jaki
przykład...
Karol?
No możesz wziąć te walizki.
Dobra.
Na przykład wiesz, jak ja słyszę kurde hashtag ensemble, to po prostu mi opada wszystko, kurwa, nie?
Są różni, no, to oni są różni.
Wiesz, więc ja jakby dopiero potem skojarzyłem, skąd jego znam.
A Sławek Wojciechowski też uważa, że jest kiepski? Mi się wydaje, że on naprawdę robi
Ja
bardzo
nie wiem czy
dobre
kiepski, tylko ja nie rozumiem jak oni się biorą za granie improwizowanej muzy.
rzeczy. Nie, ale Kuba, to jest...
I to jest takie po prostu kurde.
To jest słabość każdego zespołu nowej muzyki na świecie, że za wyjątkiem Zeitkratzer, który rzeczywiście jest zespołem indywidualności, bo jest Frank Gratkowski,
No tak.
jest, wiesz...
I że masz nagle coś takiego, że po prostu...
To wiadomo, że stary, no to wiadomo, że to nie będzie ani poziom twój, ani Marka, ani...
Ale to śmieszne, że im się wydaje, że to tak można, nie? W ogóle.
Wiesz, ja mogę ci powiedzieć, że mi śmieszy...
Bo to jest tak samo koślawe, jak się biorą klasycy za granie jazzu,
Albo
to jest mniej więcej
mówi,
to samo.
Robi zajebiście nowatorską muzykę elektroniczną, ale wiesz, ty masz taki punkt odniesienia, że no praktycznie od ciebie w Polsce nie ma lepszych improwizatorów, bo ty zawsze jesteś w tym sosie, w oktecie.
A ja uciekam od niego jeszcze w dodatku.
No, wiesz, nie ma.
Ja bym nie, właśnie przez takie rzeczy jak kurde hashtag i tak dalej, to mi się klimat, termin muzyka improwizowana, wiesz,
Nie, ale jesteście w ogóle na innym w ogóle poziomie, przecież tam właściwie każdy z was.
A właśnie, no nic, idę, ja jeszcze wrócę po tych rzeczy.
A ja idę i będę się ubierał.
Ci dużo czasu zająć, tak?
very soon, but I will let me have a look.
The next studio?
I asked my students to do this also because she wanted to make an interview. Yeah. And those cabinets, those boxes, they are brilliant car. Okay. Based on vacuum. Very old oscillators from 60s. Wow.
It should be part of any music instrument. Yeah.
Recording here.
Yes.
Always from here. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I know many that I don't know many people.
He's not
Okay, cool. Anyway, I have to teach. Hey, nice to see you and keep in touch, man. Good luck.
I can give you the older CD from this year.
Jak to jest, że Uber mnie przywiózł tu pod drzwi, a podjechać teraz nie chce?
No może trafiłeś na kogoś takiego, wiesz to.
Thank you.
The program?
Thank you very much. Okay, in the program, yes. Maybe I can try to come. Thank you. I'm conducting Mozart and doing some different things these days, but it's nice.
I work recently with composing the next Bach Goldberg variations. You know.
This is
I
nice.
made it.
Fantastic.
I made the extended space when we mix with the original. Nobody recognizes what is AI. And that was, and then we played the marathon. 5 hours long. 8 pianists.
Oh my goodness.
On this clavier.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Through Starlink, we transmitted pure data to Leipzig.
Oh my goodness.
On the grave of Bach.
Wow, that is cool. I will remember this.
Okay.
I see you.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Dzięki, bardzo. No wiesz, tak to bywa z tym hołanieckim. No.
zostawić. Tu jest pokrojony.
A, no widzisz, dobra. Zabieraj koniecznie. Nie potrzebujesz takich...
Jeśli się zmieszczę. Tam będą mieli taśmę, nie?
No ale nie taką ładną.
Ale będą mieli, nie?
Tak, ja w tym czarny jest.
Mam nadzieję, że się zmieszczę z tym, bo nie zamówiłem jakiejś taksy specjalnej.
Zresztą nie dzwonił do ciebie Szymon. Bo Szymon jest w tej chwili głównym koordynatorem Hebre. I on tam...
A tam jest coś, nie przyjadę i że nie będzie.
Tam jest wszyscy, sam Julian Paprocki właśnie się ustawia, rozumiesz?
Okej.
On się ustawia,
dobra,
a ty... tylko widzisz, ty troszeczkę za wcześnie jedziesz, w tym sensie, że Wojtek obiecał, że posprząta rzeczy do 3:30. Na twoje miejsce. Możliwe, że robi wtedy jest 5:03.
No to dobrze, no to wiesz, to akurat wyjmę, wiesz.
A w ogóle masz czas, bo to o 8 się dopiero zaczyna.
A ja gram drugi, nie?
Ty grasz drugi, no. Dobrze. No. Ja coś tu jestem.